Welcome everybody to Exceed Institute, our first one for 2023, and the topic is one that's aligned to our whole theme for this year around purpose and progress. It's called Lock On to Your Life, and I want you to think about this terminology, this word lock on. You will have heard it probably watching a movie at some point in time. In American English, it's to track or follow a target or object automatically by radar or other electronic means. Now, you will have seen it on one of those radars in a movie, the fighter pilots. And interesting, the way the radar works on like an F-16 or one of these fighter jets is there's two things going on. They're either scanning continuously to see what's going on the horizon, or it is locking on to a specific target. You know, you'll often see that in things like Top Gun when you get the missile lock moment where they're locking on to that particular plane. And in doing so, what happens is the radar follows that target consistently. Now, interestingly, our brain works a little bit this way as well, where we've got lots of things going on around us all the time in our peripheral vision and our thoughts, but we can narrow that focus down onto the thing which is most important to us. A little bit like that heads-up display that the airplane has that allows the pilot to focus on that number one priority. Now, in our lives, what we'll find, and in our bodies, is that we process an incredible amount of information every day, every second. In fact, the human body sends around 11 million bits of information per second to the brain for processing, like in our entire body, right? So we've got even our eyes, 10 million bits per second of information that's going on. Our skin, 1 million bits of information per second around that sensory feelings that we get. Is our ears, our smell, our taste. Now, the conscious mind, however, okay, the part where we focus can only handle about 50 bits per second. So there's all of this information and noise going on in our lives, but a very small part that we can process in our conscious mind for our attention. This means that we need to really lock into the things which are most important and understand the power of the subconscious mind as well. Now, how do we survive in the world if there's so much information going on and we need to narrow that focus? Well, our reticular activating system within our brain is what helps us to prioritize all of this sensory information and let the mind focus and become alert on that which is most important. Now, this might blow some of your minds, but with the studies have shown that we have around 60,000 thoughts per day. Well, the studies actually show between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day, because everyone on this call is a high performer. I reckon you're up in that 60,000 thoughts per day, or maybe even more. Now, from this, the research shows that around 80% of those thoughts are negative. And that means about only 12,000 of those thoughts are positive. So 48,000 negative thoughts, 12,000 positive thoughts. Now, very interestingly, is that 95% of our thoughts are exactly the same from the previous day. Hold up a moment. That means that 46,000 of those negative thoughts we draw in again to the next day. And we're doing this to ourselves. You figure that out. Think about that for a moment. That means only about 5% of our thoughts each day are actually new. So it's about 3,000 of those. Now, remember too that 80% of those were negative. So 2,500 are negative. This means that we have around 48.4 thousand thoughts per day that can fall into that negative zone, and which are bringing in new ones plus the previous ones. But interestingly, 85% of those negative thoughts, if you consider them worries, that 85% of them never actually happen. So it's over 41,000 of our thoughts that we worry about never even happen. And of the 15% that do, so around 7,000 that do, 95% of those are still the same thoughts from the previous day. So we maybe only really have a few hundred things that we're truly worried about, but we just keep playing them over and over again. Anyone do that? Play the same issue over and over again? The statistics is telling us it's true. But 79% of people said that they handled it better than expected, or it taught them a valuable lesson. We would call that a blessing. And as they grew out of it as a result. So it's actually a growth moment that occurs with most of these challenges. The reality is that 97% of our worries are baseless. In fact, and a result of an unfounded pessimistic perception that we have in that moment. These baseless worries are a major source of stress, tension, and cause of exhaustion, not only for the mind, but also for the physical body. Said differently, this 46.6 thousand thoughts that we have per day bring us dis-ease. Look at that word there, dis-ease, disease. The radical challenge that we have on our minds is when we allow these thoughts to creep in, and it has a negative impact on not just our thinking, but actually our bodies and the results that occur around us in our world. If this is kind of like how messy it can, anyone's closet look like this at times? Is it time for a bit of spring cleaning? Maybe we could create some space in our mental closet so we can open up our mind to new and greater opportunities that are more positive and have a greater impact on our lives. Now, if you've attended any of the sessions on the 4 agreements, or if you haven't, make sure you jump in to do this too and watch that session. In the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz shares with us to be impeccable with your word. That means speak out of integrity and say only what you mean to say, and avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love, and be helpful, not harmful. This is both, as we say it out loud, even most importantly, what we say to ourselves as well. Don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Now, Peter Crone, the mind architect, he has an incredible perspective on this. If you want to have greater freedom and end suffering in your life, then this next portion may very well be the epiphany moment that we all deserve to have, not just once, but on a daily basis, even multiple times per day. You see, he explains that there's 2 types of time. There's clock time and there's psychological time. Now, clock time, if we think about it, we often refer to, hey, the sun goes up in the morning and it goes down at night. But pause on that for a moment, because that's not true, is that we actually rotate around the sun. It's not even going up or down. It stays exactly where it is. But put that to one side. The psychological time is where we think about the past and the future. Now, with this, if at any time we think about the past and we have a resistance to what has happened in the past, then in that moment, all the emotional energy that's generated actually equals suffering. Or what about this one? Something that's going to happen in the future, or you believe will happen in the future, but you have resistance to it, therefore a negative emotional energy gets connected to it. That also equals suffering. Oh, suffering in the past, suffering in the future. Where's the freedom? Well, it's actually in the present right now. You see, in the present, in this moment is the moment where you can achieve the flow state, being in the zone. Have that feeling where everything's just working the way it should, you're totally in and enjoying the thing that you're doing, you're in the zone? In that moment, you're not thinking about the past or the future. It's actually where the freedom exists in the moment from psychological time, where you can just be joyous and happy. In fact, Peter Crone has some incredible statements, worth watching and following this guy. He says, what happened, happened and couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. I'll say that again. What happened, happened and couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. The moment that we can be at peace with whatever has happened in our lives is the moment where we end suffering. You see, we can't change the past and the future doesn't exist yet. The moment that we can just be at peace with it is where all the joy will come from. Now, only we, with our narratives, can say otherwise. And it is the delta, the difference between the reality and which is what happened, okay? Whatever happened, happened objectively. It's not right, wrong, good or bad. It just happened. And our conversation about what happened is what creates the suffering. It's when we throw the perspective on a past or future scenario, whether it was right, wrong, good or bad, it's our perspective, our narrative that generates all the suffering and the energy against it. It's unhelpful. So what if we could break through that by simply accepting what has happened has happened? It's not right, wrong, good or bad. We could actually just release it all and we can move forward. You see, life will present you with people and circumstances that reveal where you're not free in your life. And this is why things like the 4 agreements are so powerful for us, to be able to start to become like the gardeners of our mind, where we plant the right seeds and we fertilize the right thinking, or the most, I shouldn't say right, but rather the most helpful thinking to set us in a path where we can have true freedom, joy, greater understanding and compassion for others, and less suffering in our lives. Another great statement here, you can allow everything and everybody to be exactly the way they are and still be at peace. And I'd assert that that's the only form of real peace there is, to allow life to be the way it is. It's actually removing judgment. To me, the real success is where I can feel at peace in the midst of chaos. To me, the real success is where I can feel at peace in the midst of chaos. What happened and couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. If you don't create a beautiful future, your brain will do it for you, and it's not good, is it? The statistics just showed us how much of a spiral we will take ourselves in unless we are deliberate in what we desire and declare what our futures will be. Now, I'm going to take you beyond New Year's resolutions today into a whole new space where we start to think about what you think about, you bring about. WYTAYBA, what you think about, you bring about. And I'm going to ask you to do something with me, because when we apply this, it'll allow us to shift and be better. And because naturally, if we look at this question, would you rather be bitter or better? What would you like to be, bitter or better? 1 for bitter or 2 for better in the chat? Who wants to go for it, bitter or better? A quick look to see how you're going there. I think we got, great. I know it's better together. We know that we're in the right place for to answer this question. Fantastic. That is absolutely blowing up. Well done. Let's get ourselves anchored with a very special activity. And it goes like this. What you think about, you bring about. Okay, what you think about, you bring about. I'd like you to do that with me and say it out loud as you do it. What you think about, you bring about.
Think about.
What you think about.
What you think about, you bring about.
Fantastic. Let's lock onto this idea, anchor with it, and continue to use it as we move forward. Now, what type of plant is this? Anyone in the chat that's a bit of a gardener might know what this one is. What type of plant do you see on the screen? Banana plant. Joanne Enriquez, you get this right every time because you are such a great gardener. You're 10,000 plants that you go to every day. Now, there it is. It's our banana plant when it grows up to be a big tree. Question for you now is to answer in the chat, 1, 2, or 3. What type of gardener are you? Are you a novice, which means you cannot keep a pot plant alive? Oh, my goodness. Intermediate, I could nurture a plant if I gave it some attention. Or 3, the expert. I can teach others how to grow food and sustain themselves. Got some 1s and 2s. Any farmers out there? Haven't seen a 3 yet. Not confidently anyway. There you go, 3. Lou's going to keep us alive in a crisis. Thank you, Lou. Fantastic. Okay, now the next question I have for you, so let's say it again. What you think about, you bring about. One more time, with the actions. What you think about, you bring about. With the actions, what you think about, you bring about. Okay, now what type of gardener of the mind are you? A novice lives life reactively via circumstances, default, and not design. 2 is the intermediate. Has goals, some of them maybe even written down. And 3, the expert, they plant what they want in their minds multiple times during the day. Where are you right now? Are you a 1, a 2, or 3? Where are you right now? By the end of this session, I'm going to take you all to becoming 3s, guaranteed, with what I will share with you today. Fantastic. 1, 2, or 3. Wherever you are at is not right, wrong, good, or bad. It just is where you are. And everything has led you up until this moment that you can now present yourself to take forward to an even more beautiful future. And by the end of this session, you will be at number 3 and give you everything that you need to be there. Now, rather than hoping and waiting for this aspirational future where we think we're going to be happy, what about if you could just consider the possibility of being happy today and in this very moment? True happiness is the absence of the pursuit of happiness. It's the flow state. Rather than demanding, trying to chase it all the way over here or worrying about you had it in the past, let it all go, accept what is there right around us and be able to enjoy that joyful happiness. Now, when it comes to creating goals, getting clear on what you desire in your life, the Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, is a very powerful one to refer back to. He's got a 6-step formula for this one. 1, fix your mind on the exact amount of money or item or the thing that you desire. It is not sufficient nearly enough to say, I want plenty of this thing. You need to get very specific with the words, very precise about what you desire. 2, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for that thing that you desire. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Now, in the book, he talks a lot about money. I'll put it to you that is just it's abstract anyway, right? If you think about it, money doesn't even really exist. A piece of paper that we transact, the piece of paper has no inherent value. It's just our perception of the money that is where the value is. So the same applies for whatever it is you desire in life, whether it's a rich and beautiful relationship with your partner, a joyous connection with your children, your contribution and connection to society and your community, whatever it is that you desire, lock onto it and get really clear on what it is that you want, and then what are you willing to give in return, because you're going to need to have a value exchange to get the thing that you're after. We'll need to think about it, and we'll need to, in order to bring it about. Establish a definitive date when you intend to possess this thing that you desire. A goal is a dream with a deadline, says Napoleon Hill. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you're ready or not to put this plan in action. We need to get it stated out loud and write it down. Write out clear and concise statement of the amount of money or the thing that you intend to acquire. Name the time and limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return and describe clearly the plan in which you intend to accumulate it. Read your written statement out loud twice a day. Okay, you need to go back to this regularly. Read it out twice a day. Most importantly, first thing in the morning you wake up and just before you go to bed at night, and read it with the passion. Once you get that passion into the thing that you desire, it will make all the difference. Now, here's the activity you can do. Now, comes from a session 1.5 years ago. I'm going to show you how, for me personally, it's evolved. And to me, I think this will be the little breakthrough hack that makes all the difference. Now, when you write down the thing that you desire, even if it's just one goal, the importance is that you have passion behind it. If you don't have passion to drive this, it'll just be another task. That's not what this is about. This is about having the significant impact in our lives to lock on to that portion of your life and have an incredible purpose and progress this year. Now, I wrote this one down about acquiring an investment property in the next 3 years. I put a date in there. And then that evolved to thinking about how can we help all of the team members as a pathway to investment property ownership across the next 3 years so that everyone could benefit from generating intergenerational wealth. And then it went into something crazy heights of saying, let's help 100,000 Filipinos into property ownership in the next 10 years. Let's start with our team and then take this even bigger. Make it really personal. I wrote that down. And what I learned was about the power of taking that goal, taking a photo of it and putting it on your lock screen on your phone. This is like the heads-up display for the fighter pilot. It's where our eyes go to most throughout the day. In fact, a study of 150,000 people found that on average, the average smartphone user unlocks their phone 110 times per day. Think about that for a moment, 110 times, maybe even more these days, right? So with that, what is going to be on your lock screen? Here's where mine started. It evolved into something even bigger. And now here is where I've taken it for a year of purpose and progress with even more detail there to remind me each day. I'll break this down in just a sec for you. Where you can start to capture this information. One of the great places to do it is in Do This Too. Go straight to your icon where it says Manage Account and bring up the personal section here where personality assessments can go in so you can understand yourself. Write your personal mission statement in here, okay? And then write down your personal goals as well. Capture it in a location where you'll be able to come back and review it regularly. And here are some great questions or elements to put in here now. This is a new guide for you. Desire and then declare. I say the word desire very intentionally so that you can get the passion connected to the thing or things of which you desire most. And then be really bold and declare what it is you're going for. Now, for me, I start out with the theme, purpose and progress, and then images that are really important to me. And then next, a date for the declaration of, I've used the word roadmap. For me, it takes me through to 2030, beyond just the year, but actually even further to live a life by design. Now, I've broken down this next section into us, we, ours, me, together. Important frameworks, personal mission, daily ritual. us, if you're in a relationship with a significant other, like you're married, what we will learn as life continues to evolve is that this becomes our primary relationship. And so for that, make a declaration around your primary relationship to invest in that relationship deeply. You may also like to put God in there as a primary relationship as well for you. Then we, as a family relationship, and for me and the children sit in there very importantly. But then also the ours, in my case, with being married with children, the ours is in relationship with our kids. Me personally, together is about work as a team. And then I've put an important framework to focus on for this year, or for that period that you want to bring it up onto your heads-up display, the personal mission statement, and then a daily ritual. And with that small reminders right here, for me, it means every time I pick up my phone, I'm reminded about the things of which are most important. So this is the moment. Continuously. How many times per day? 110, 150, who knows? It might be 200 times per day that we pick up our phones and continuously being reminded about what's there. Now, I love these words. You are extraordinary. So be responsible for that. Make a declaration of what it is that you intend to achieve and deliver. Live the life by design that you deserve and lock on to your life. Simply do this exercise with your lock screen and watch the power and the impact of what comes next as you keep yourself continually programmed into a positive state and be that beautiful gardener in your mind. Give yourself the permission to clear out any negative thoughts about the past or the future and know that you are beautiful, you're exactly where you're meant to be, you're in the right spot. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with you and share this information. So many more great things to come for us at GoTeam. If I can close this one out with a power clap, I'd like to invite you all to open up your microphones and turn on your video cameras. Let's have a power clap on 3. 1, 2, 3.
GoTeam!